Ready?
Here we go. Here we go.
Hi!
Oh, are we live? Good.
We're live.
It's not coming up on my one. This always happens. Oh, there we go. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone!
And that's my notification saying we've just come up. Brilliant.
Ah, cool. All right. So we'll see some people jump into the comments probably soon.
Yeah, get them
Lovely.
up. There you go.
So how have your days been, guys? How have you been since I saw you on Thursday? Not bad, huh? You've been up to your arm in the septic tank, haven't you?
Oh, well, thankfully it's not the sewage, but yeah, we've got the down pipe, which has got all the sewage in it, and then there's another like waste pipe going into it, which does the wash machine and the sink in the kitchen. It's blocked. We took the whole lot apart. I'm out in the garden cleaning pipes in the pouring rain. We're pulling out yuck galore with this.
Oh my days.
Anyway, 3 hours later, it's still blocked. So I think we're going to have to take the pipe off the wall and clear it out that way. Yay!
Hi!
Oh, hey, Rack.
Hello.
To see us in the flesh.
Yeah.
In the pixely flesh. Yes. Hello.
Yeah, this is my good side.
Oh, just straight on. Not the back of your head. That's such your best side.
Actually, this is better.
Oh, Jeremy. So lovely. What about you, Anna? How's your day been?
Yeah.
Well, my computer, I don't know why. I mean, my computer's got 3 months. Okay?
As in it's 3 months old or it has 3 months left?
No, it's 3 months old.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, exactly. Hard disk suddenly was not recognized by the computer itself. So no hard disk according to my computer. And that's probably a failure from the hard disk because it has always, since the beginning, it has been like making kind of blackouts, like for 1 or 2 seconds. Like I see all black and then Discord doesn't work when that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got really scared. I'm on final assignments. I'm working really hard in them, and I was like, I cannot lose my information.
No. Have you lost any of your work, or is it all right?
No idea yet, because the thing is, there was no appointment until the 19th.
Until Thursday.
So I have to wait and to know if I lost info or not. But I have NetGalley books in there too, because I don't have a Kindle yet. That I'm planning to get. I'm planning to get myself a Kindle for Christmas. So
I mean, can you get the NetGalley app on your phone?
But 2 of them are already archived, so yeah, they don't appear in the app. If they have been archived, they're not in the app.
Yeah.
I already finished one of them. I could finish one of them, but there's one that hadn't. Yeah, so
it's not going to be good for your ratio, is it?
But I've been fine. I mean, aside from the computer event.
Apart from that massive problem.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I've been okay apart from that. I mean, I'm a bit tight on timing, but I'm fine.
Right.
I'm holding up so far.
Sure.
And my mental health has been better than lately. So yay!
Yay!
That was horrible last time. Like right before the live, I was like, I don't want anyone to see me. And I'm like, no, I have to do this because this is what actually allows me to forget everything and to get in a better mood and mental health wise, it helps a lot. So no, I really have to do these, and I have to see the girls, and yay, it worked. So I've been a lot better.
Good.
Yay! I mean, that's the point of readathons, isn't it? What about me? Yeah. Oh well,
you finished it, didn't
you? Yay!
Yay! So yeah, I only have
Oh God, it's like, oh. You could do
Like,
that. That's easy.
250 pages left of Folly, the book in which there is still no plot. So yeah, not bad. I played some Sims. It was a good day for me. It was a good day. Yeah, love a bit of Saturday, day off. We did lots of sprinting. That's how I finished my hunting thing. Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
strong. I have brought my themed mug also, but
Oh, that's so
I wanted to be
my
fancy.
knives yet. Maybe.
There we go. We've got mugs going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice mugs today.
Oh, audio version. Oh, I didn't do the audio. Only
Oh, I would love to read the audio version. I really enjoyed it.
1% for each character, do you think? With that?
We'll find out.
I don't know.
I mean, I'd love to hear how they did Miranda. I liked her as the character the most.
Which one was she? I only read it a few months ago. I can't remember it.
But we can't be too spoilery.
I know. It's big spoilers.
She is like the amazing, beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got to.
So I'd love to see how they do her on audiobook.
That'd be
So
kind of
maybe I'll check that out. I've got loads of credits that I've just not used, so might as well. Probably won't listen to it right now though. Lovely. Well, Rax, 2 readers, 1 man and 1 woman. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Rax did send us in a little question, which I thought would be a brilliant start. Which is your favourite Sherlockian book not written by Arthur Conan Doyle?
Oh God. All mine are in the cupboard.
You can still remember them. It's not a thought shield. It's just a cupboard.
I know. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I have mine because I saw the question earlier. Well, mine is a series, which is L'Oreal King's Russell and Holmes series, which I just love. There's some problematic stuff about it that I would love to change, but if you ignore that, my favourite books of all time, really. I love them. Basically, if you haven't read them, a young woman called Mary meets Sherlock Holmes once he's retired, sort of semi-retired, and she becomes his apprentice, and they then solve crimes together. And there's like 17 books in the series now. But yeah, I love them. They're very they're very fanficky in the sense that I'm Mary Russell and I'm on this adventure of Sherlock Holmes, and like I think for the author as well, I think there's certainly an element of that. But they're very well written, and there's some great bits about First World War and other stuff like that. It's really good. So that's mine.
Cool.
You got one, Anna?
I have to be honest. I haven't read any story about Sherlock Holmes that is not written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
You're like a canon purist.
Ish, yes.
Ish.
But I'm going to give one a try. It's called Moriarty.
Oh,
Like Anthony Horowitz.
Yes.
Right?
I got stuck halfway through that. I saw the twist coming and kind of lost interest because of that. Light is terrible tonight. I'm so sorry.
You're very ghostly, but that's fine.
Yeah, I've got my iPad up. That's why.
Oh, right.
Somebody wants to say hello.
Oh, hello, Syria.
Hi.
Sorry about that.
It was meow.
Wow. Yeah, mine's talking somewhere on a bed. He's not impressed with her. Okay, my favourite Sherlockian book that's not Arthur Conan Doyle would be Shadows Over Baker Street, which is a short story collection that links Sherlock Holmes with Cthulhu mythology.
Crikey.
It's actually really good. But my favourite one in there is A Study in Emerald by Neil Gaiman that I can't tell you anything about because it will completely spoil it. But if you can read that, it is so clever, and it's kind of like, I would read a whole series based on what the one story.
Oh wow, pretty good. Is that? Have we got feedback? Could be me.
Don't know.
But me. Muted everything that could possibly be a problem. Nice. So Rax, is that the same one? The one about Moriarty?
That's it.
Nice. So there you go. It's recommended.
Yeah, good recommendation.
I do love Moriarty. For sure. Nice. Shall we? I'm just thinking we do have quite a lot of questions to ask each other. So I'm wondering if we get into a bit of chat about the Hound of the Baskervilles. And obviously in the chat, if you're watching live, comment, and we can like discuss your discussion. But also if you're watching later, which I know some of you will be, still give us your answers to the questions, because we'll be coming back to check it and see what you're doing.
I think for people who don't know, the Hound are the Baskervilles, because maybe somebody didn't participate in Sherlockathon and watches these, and so it was the group book, and is my personal Sherlock Holmes favorite. So highly recommended.
It's very good. This is my copy. I went a bit tab crazy.
Look at the tabbing.
Yeah, I also annotated it for my dad. So for Christmas. You might not know this. My dad deserves a shout out at this point, because he texts me trivia about Sherlock Holmes nearly every day at the moment, and I'm unashamed to say that like I passed them on to you guys in the groups and in the spread.
Thank you so much.
And he's the reason that I read Sherlock Holmes. So shout out to my dad. So he'll get this at Christmas, but without all of the tabs, because he won't enjoy that. But lovely. Let's start with some of your questions, Sabrina, because it'll surprise me.
So spoiler free. Why do you think Hound is considered the most popular Holmes story? Because obviously it's the one mainstream people know about, the Hound of the Baskervilles. That's their
and it's the most adapted as well, isn't it? So
yes, it is.
I guess, I don't know. I suppose it's. So I first read Hound when I was in middle school, so I would have been maybe year 5, so I would have been 10. And I think it's very approachable as a book to read. Like I read it as a kid and understood it and enjoyed it and was into it. I think it's very fast-paced, gets along, good whack, got a bit of plot. And I guess it's not as intimidating as some of the other stories could be. I don't know.
Maybe it's also because of the surprises. Like it constantly surprises you. It's like one after the other. And I love that it makes you think you know who the killer is from the beginning. Because it leads you to believe that's the killer. And the whole story, catch him! It's him! Catch him! And then, whoops. So
it's not him.
Yeah, exactly. Like nothing. Well, he gives you a hint too when this character appears, though. But
and we will totally get into that stuff in the spoiler section. We're gonna, like, if you stick around for later on, we're really gonna go into like the mechanisms of the book and the meta bits and the villain bits and how it all works. But we're gonna try and be really careful. She says that she drinks her wine.
So he also gives you a hint. I mean, it was very clear to me when this character appears, like that it was telling you there's something wrong with this one.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be sure. You would always suspect. Plus, thinking, I mean, tell me how many mysteries you know in which the butler's the killer.
Do you know,
at least one.
A lot.
But he wasn't a real butler.
In the one a lot.
I'm trying to think. Is there an Agatha Christie one?
Well, there's 3-act tragedy.
That's it, yeah.
Spoilers for 3-act tragedy. Oh no!
I mean,
though, isn't it, that the butler always does it, and actually, apart from like, obvious ones, it's not as common as you think it is.
Mm.
So you would think the butler's the killer, and well,
And we'll see. We'll see if he is in half an hour.
Rakshit is telling us that she thinks it's because of the legend of the Hound, because it's a supernatural story, like a ghost thing.
Mm. Yeah, totally. I think that's very true.
Yeah, like that's. I mean, I love the way Sherlock always unveils there's no supernatural things. I mean, I don't believe in the supernatural, so I'm very Sherlock-ish in that.
Me too. Yeah. And that was one of the things that I really liked, because you're like, we're looking for this logical explanation. The Hound isn't real.
Exactly.
And yet, so I think that
say that potentially the Hound is real.
You know, the giant paw print and all of that. I agree as well. Like, because so if you're not into murder mysteries necessarily, there's a lot about this book that isn't. I mean, obviously there are elements that are very like, this is how a murder mystery is laid out, and you get to know each suspect, sort of thing. But there's a lot of stuff about it that you can enjoy if you don't enjoy that genre. Like, I think it's more of an adventure that's happening with these mates, and they've got to work this thing out. But it's sort of an adventure, and then also you've got that horror element. So if you're interested in those things, there you go.
It's a natural latch on, yeah.
Which is quite nice. Yeah. I mean, I think the adaptations are definitely a reason that it's a very popular book, because, again, that's quite an evocative thing to be able to put onto film, isn't it? Like, and obviously there is the moor and all the fog, and
all
you can really.
That's all there.
And possibly that's down to how good the writing is. Like, reading the book, you can imagine these places, and I suppose that is partially because Arthur Conan Doyle for once really did his research for this book and went around for ages all over the moor and interviewed people and had a guide, and so it's really real. You can really see it in your mind. And I guess as a screenwriter, that's quite a nice thing to adapt. Whereas I think from what I've heard through my nerddom of the Jeremy Brett series, a lot of them were a lot more difficult to adapt to the screen, and there were some stories which were fan favorites that were completely discounted as being adaptable because they were just someone telling a story around a fire, and that doesn't look great on screen. But running all over Dartmoor, that looks brilliant on screen. So I wonder if that's partially to do with its popularity. What do you think?
I was going to say, I do remember chatting to Bert Coles on the Sherlock Holmes forum. Was it forum? Scarlet Street. Do you remember Scarlet Street when it started up on the internet? And the big Sherlock Holmes forum site. Anyway, so I got into a conversation with Bert Coles, who adapted the stories, most of the stories for the Radio 4 BBC dramatisations. And he was saying Hound is one of the easiest ones for an adapter to pick up, and literally you can drop all these things in, particularly when you've got Watson doing his journals and his narration and all that, and all you do is you put in the sound effects underneath, and the moor and the hound howling, and it's very atmospheric. It's a it was very easy to turn that into a 2-hour production that flowed really well. I was saying some of the other ones where it is literally Watson and Holmes talking to each other in Baker Street, it got to a stage where they had to adapt it to make it more action. So they went out and they met people and they changed how the story was told. So the Dancing Men, for example, I think is one of a really good adaptation, because you flash between Holmes and Watson working out the messages and the pre-story of Hilton and Elsie
in America
meeting and getting married, and then her getting all these letters. So it's not just them sitting there talking about it, it's got the action that Hound naturally has. But sorry, slightly
No, that was really good. Nice. Let me ask you a question. So obviously I think for all of us this is a reread. Yes? Yeah, because we're big fans. Was there anything that surprised you in either your first reading or in your reread? And in the comments again. Give us your answers as well. I can start with mine because obviously I've seen this question because I wrote it. So what surprised me was, so purple denotes funny. I did not remember at all that this book is in parts hilarious. So I don't know. Let's see if I can pull one out. Like even from the first scene where Holmes has got his back to Watson and Watson's like, how did you know what I was doing? He's like, well, I am looking into a really polished, and it makes me laugh. Like, I think it's a bit sarky in places. There's obviously Henry with his by thunder. Like, I find that funny every single time and charming. The bit where the murderer tells the cab driver that he's Sherlock Holmes, like all of these little bits. And I went into this thinking, this is going to be a scary book, so I'm going to need a category for scariness. And my category for scariness was orange. And I've got 4 times the amount of purple ones. So that was my big surprise. I've got some others, but let's hear from you guys as well.
Yeah. Anna?
Big surprise to me. The woman. LL.
LL, sure, yeah.
Let's call her. LL was a surprise. The relationship.
Yeah.
Like the reality of who she was. I mean, the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we're going to talk about it in spoilers.
What is coming up?
And the Hound. Like the Hound. Not the ghostly idea, but the Hound.
Yes. And again, later we're going to properly talk about that. But yes, I agree with you. I agree with you so much. Sabrina, do you have others?
I mean, I read this when I was in my teens. I might have read it again since then, and then obviously over the weekend. So, you know, I've grown up quite a bit since I first read this, and I think having expanded my reading experience to include own voices and more diverse stories and all that, I was really struck how white Holmes's world is. It's like super white, and it really sort of stuck out that, you know, there's never many women in his stories, and there's never, you know, if there's a person of color, they're always the bad guy, or, you know, they're always up to something nefarious. And it's like, yeah, this is very much written of a time when there were certain ideas and attitudes, and I think it really stands out for me now because I'm almost reading, kind of looking out for it a little bit and sort of saying, you know, okay, what's going on here, and how do I adjust to that, and how do I kind of put it through my head that why this book is that way. I think that's the only thing that really sort of stood out, having read it a couple of times before, and I really noticed it. Apart from that, you know.
Sorry. I mean, it's very stark. I think I found that particularly stark because I was reading at the same time Mycroft Holmes by Kareem, and then I forget his last name. Rax knows, so she'll put it in the comments for us, I imagine. But and his is an own voices retelling about Mycroft Holmes, which goes into the slave trade and other things, and that's a much more accurate portrayal of the racial mix in London at the time, and it doesn't kind of shy away from the fact that London's always been pretty diverse. That's serious.
Yeah, that's serious.
He disagrees.
Yeah. Reading those two together, that was a bit weird because you're just like, oh, this is a very plain book in the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Thank you.
Okay.
It's the one book I haven't got in the stack next to me. Yes, so it is quite a stark difference. I think I was also surprised by how much I love Watson. Oh my goodness, so much. For him to have like a chance to come out from Holmes's shadow and really...
You really sort of forget how actually that he's a doctor, so he's an intelligent man in his own right.
Yeah.
actually see him shine is really sort of like, yay, brilliant.
For sure.
But if you realize he doesn't really see everything, it's again Sherlock coming
Putting
and
those dots
feeling.
together, yeah.
For sure.
Like
I mean, I think
who puts like the last piece of the puzzle.
it's because we're on a slight delay. We're constantly interrupting each other. Yeah, I think Arthur Conan Doyle does Watson a bit dirty. Like, and this isn't a spoiler because it's like the first chapter, right? When Watson picks up the stick, which he knows to be from a doctor, and he goes, "Oh, Charing Cross Hunt."
Why? Why?
No, like he would definitely think hospital, and Arthur Conan Doyle would know that. Like, I feel like he worked backwards from the deduction there, and I disliked that. I think Watson deserves better than not to think of hospital. But when Holmes isn't, I think that's the thing, isn't it? They are, when they're together, they are foils for each other, but they're more interesting apart. But then their friendship is very interesting. So I don't know. I loved seeing more of Watson though. I ended up voting for him in our poll, which might have finished. We might now know who is. We won't know the top two, but we might know 3 and 4. Shall we see? Did you guys have any other surprises? Well, I'll have a little look. So yes, Watson has come third in our poll.
Awesome.
And Mycroft is fourth.
Mentioned about she didn't know that Conan Doyle did the research.
Oh yeah, he really extensive.
Somewhere that he'd heard the story of the legend of a hound that roamed on the moor and
yeah. So I mean, Dartmoor in general is a place that's full of these kind of folklore tales, and you can read more about that. So there's this guy, Saban Baring Gould. He collected a lot of these stories, but I don't think it's from him that Arthur Conan Doyle found this out. But yes, he did hear this story about this guy who apparently had a curse, and it was something to do with a hound, and then he adapted that in. But he spent like a couple of weeks on Dartmoor, just going around everywhere and spending time there. And I think, you think, oh, Conan Doyle, if you'd like done this research for the other books, it would have been so much better. Like, I was listening to a podcast today, and it was talking about the Priory School, bit of a niche one, but there's a deduction Holmes makes in that about bicycle tracks where you can tell which way is going forward. So Conan Doyle apparently just wrote that in and just assumed that was true. He did that a lot, I think. And then people sent letters to him, which got published in the Strand, saying like that isn't true. And then he took a bike out and checked it, and he was like, "Yeah, I was wrong." I just think, well, you could have just taken the bike out. Like,
check, guys.
It's just a money-making machine for him sometimes, and I just think, oh, you had this amazing thing, you should have just really gone with it. But
at least he said I was wrong. Because
he did also call the people he wrote the letters cranks, but yeah, he did eventually admit that he was wrong.
So I'm wrong, but you're idiots.
Absolutely. Nice. Let's have another one from you, Sabrina.
Right, you want another spoiler-free one? Hold on, I gotta load up my thing. Hello, Sirius. There we go. Right, so obviously Hound, we've discussed, is not a typical Sherlock Holmes, and it has a lot of gothic horror features, which my eldest son is currently studying. That's why I know. And implied supernatural elements. So why do you think Conan Doyle went down this particular path for Hound of the Baskervilles? Why do you think he went for the gothic horror and supernatural rather than a straightforward detective story?
Can I put you on the spot?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I know exactly what gothic horror elements are.
Okay.
Can you tell me what they are?
I can tell you. I have looked at this several times. I'm also doing a thing with my Year 8 students. We're going to be looking at Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. So gothic horror elements is basically the battle between man's humanity and temptation to fall. And that's the big element of gothic horror. So it features a hero that is tempted by some form of evil, whether that's another person or supernatural element or not. But it's his battle to remain human, as it were. And you've got all the features like oppressive weather, so rain, fog, thunderstorms. You've got the Gothic architecture of a building, so a castle or a place with loads of gargoyles, or something, a place that feels really, as you know, close and oppressive. And your story has an overall sense of unease and fear throughout it. And obviously, Hound has all of those elements. You know, we are battling against this hound, and you know, the spoiler of why we have a hound as the temptation and all that. Does that help?
Also, that natural darkness. Natural darkness, quite. Yeah, I love Gothic. Like,
stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
If it was for me, I would wear Gothic clothes 24/7, but I cannot.
Why not?
If I would. I mean, I love my logo is meant to.
Oh yeah, black and red and a cat.
Little... Gothic Victorian, actually.
That's pretty.
That's my favorite kind of Gothic Victorian. And when I think of Sherlock Holmes, I think of Gothic Victorian, and I think that's because of the Hound.
Yeah.
And probably London and its foggy ways.
Pea soup and all that. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, why did he do it? I suppose. So then I'm just thinking about his motivations as an author. Like, I know that the reason that he wrote this book is because he needed money, basically. So this is, and like, you cover your ears if you don't know what happens in the final problem and then the empty house. Cover your ears for like a minute and a half. But so this is written, so we've got the final problem where Sherlock dies. He's been killed off because Arthur Conan Doyle didn't want to write him anymore. He wanted to do his other stuff. So then in the empty house, he comes back again.
Ooh, yeah.
Is this... Ooh.
That's a good point. Yeah, go on.
What's interesting about Rax's question is that his wife, I think, died when, or before, around definitely the writing of the final problem. And in their last holiday together, they went on holiday to Switzerland and went to the Reichenbach Falls. So yeah, you could make an argument, definitely, couldn't you? Because his wife dies, and he kills Holmes. It's obviously like a very dark period of his life. But then he needed money for some reason. I can't remember why. And he didn't want to bring him back, but he writes The Hound, which is set before the final problem, but released after. And then eventually he writes The Empty House, and we get lots more Holmes stories. But yeah, I wonder if he was just aware of the popularity of Gothic horror at the time. Like, I don't know when's Frankenstein, I can't remember, but I wonder if he was just like, oh, that's something else I could monetize.
I mean, certainly we've got Frankenstein, and Dracula's obviously the big one, and then Oscar Wilde doing Dorian Gray and all that.
Yeah,
so that kind of bubbling pot of Gothic horror literature that the Victorian era is really famous for is around at that time. So yeah, he might have been influenced by it all. Certainly with the way he was thinking himself.
That's my theory.
That makes sense.
Completely unsubstantiated. I've just decided that.
You could decide now. Oh, that's what fits in.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
I've decided that. That's my deduction. There you go.
I mean, that's what I think I like the most about these. It's not only Sherlock. Also, Agatha Christie has some Gothic, Victorian Gothic. Woof! I love Agatha Christie, and I think that's what we caught into her stories, mainly the Victorian Gothic. Victorian and Gothic go too well together.
It's the whole atmosphere, isn't it? It just ticks all boxes.
And I guess it's partially like the influence of the Industrial Revolution and the change in society. Like, those historical events always have an impact on literature and art, and how they, like, you often see like new forms of literature and new forms of art in those kind of times. So interestingly, Agatha Christie, the reason there was a big surge in murder mysteries in the golden age of detective literature was that at the same time it was like the interwar period. So people had this horrible experience of millions of young men dying in the trenches, and then they're trying to reconcile that with their theological theories about life and what the meaning of life is, and then you can have a little break from that and solve a mystery. And that's why they were so popular, I think. Well, that has been argued by a couple of academic Christie people.
Yeah. Certainly, if you think, a murder mystery, particularly like Poirot, a murder happens, and Poirot is very logical, and Sherlock as well. There are logical steps to solving this murder and then bringing the villain to justice. And that sense of, it wasn't a senseless death. There was a justice at the end of this, and the bad guy did not get away with it. I suppose there's that reassurance that justice will prevail.
Yeah, and there's a bringing of order out of chaos. I think particularly with Christie, what's interesting is then as she writes into the Second World War, her works become darker and darker and darker. And then coming out of the Second World War, they become then more hopeful. She's just a really interesting study in what the culture was like at the time that she was writing. And then she becomes very disparaging about all these young people in the 50s, which I found quite funny. They're all people who are like 40 or 50 years older than me. Yes, that was a bit of a tangent, sorry.
No, it's okay.
One thing is Doyle influenced Christie, same way that...
But they were mates, weren't they?
Doyle, and onwards, it's that continuous line to where we are today with our crime. They've all built on top of each other.
And Christie had her own hatred of Poirot, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And that was why she developed Tommy and Tuppence.
I do like Tommy and Tuppence.
Do you?
I like Tommy and Tuppence.
I can't hold it. We've got some more comments.
It's the Gothic horror's done, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
19th century. Like that's tied to the music. Every piece of art is tied to history, and everything gets an exchange with every other area to create one thing alone. So I'm the Beethoven was the first love of my life, and he will always be my platonic love. But he's quite a representative of this, especially, I believe, Gothic mystery. His music, when you listen to him, there's always Gothic elements and a hint of hope somewhere. But there's Gothic elements. There's mystery, there's strength, the Sturm und Drang, the German huge literary movement. It got into music through him mainly. So whoa, have you ever tried to listen to Beethoven's music while reading Sherlock Holmes? I haven't.
I think that's an experiment we need to try, isn't it?
We should do that.
Let's see how it goes.
Now, the Fifth Symphony is called Destiny, and it's meant to be the destiny knocking at your door.
Wow. Well, I think you would have to pick the music and book pairing, because you obviously know a lot about it, which I don't.
I didn't study him in music, sorry.
I did half a GCSE, and I'm not sure that counts for anything. Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde and Dorian Gray.
I love that.
Yeah, twice Jekyll and Hyde.
Have you seen the musical based on Iraq's? There we go.
Hyde?
Jekyll and Hyde, yeah.
Musical.
And there's one man, and he does this basically.
Oh my goodness! So that's bizarre.
Yeah, it didn't run for very long, but a lot of people really like it. It's a bit like a cult one. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I shall question you. This is a bit of a fun one. Whose establishing character moment was best? So, in case anyone watching or you guys don't know what an establishing character moment is, it's you meet the character for the first time in the book, and they do stuff which shows you who they are, like establishes the kind of person that they are. So, an example would be Sherlock doing all that bit of deduction at the beginning. That kind of shows you who Sherlock is. I think that was it. Wow. It's good living in London, isn't it? Because you get to see things. Missing out
I
in
miss
countryside.
London. Yeah, and that's maybe why.
Yeah, just to go to the theatre. I have seen 6 with most of the original cast, and that was so good. But there are people who live in London who go and see 6 like every week and just see all the different cast members, and I'm just like, oh, so jealous. Anyway, before this becomes a musical theatre discussion, which it could very easily become.
I could talk about musical theatre, love it.
Yes. We'll do another stream for that. Best establishing character moments. Whose introduction did you like best?
God, that's hard.
Stapletons.
Stapleton, yes. So, am I remembering right that he talks about the deaths of more ponies in his introduction?
Yes, it is, isn't it?
I can't remember what I wrote in the.
I mean, I loved how you saw something was wrong with him and you wouldn't know what. Like he was kind of cuckoo.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a screw knot.
Even in the Jeremy Brett adaptation, which we watched last week, he's just surrounded by dead butterfly corpses. I'm just found that. I mean,
right,
not to be mean to solists, butterfly collectors. I just find that a bit weird. Like if you just got like a cabinet somewhere full of shells of dead butterflies, like it's not like stamps, is it? Like.
Rachita says Dr. Mortimer because of his obsession with phrenology. I absolutely loved when Sherlock sat down so he could measure his.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that part so much. Like a cast of your skull. I'm sure the original is available.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, terrible. And that is one of
moments from that scene.
That is I think, in my top 3 moments from the Jeremy Brett episode, which I'm a bit obsessed with. We're going to have the Cumberbatch moment tomorrow, guys, so it's going to happen. But the bit where he's like, if I could run my finger along your occipital lobe, and Jeremy Brett says, sit down and behave yourself. It's very flirtatious. Like, I just think, it's a great little moment. It's not from the book, but I really like it.
It's very in character, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a brilliant shout for establishing character moment.
Good choice. Raquel, you haven't told us what's your favorite character establishment.
I'm looking at the thing over there.
Phrenology? I can't pronounce
Phrenology.
Yeah, phrenology is the science.
Yeah,
that is like you were supposed to. I did study that when I started psychology because that's history of psychology too.
Yeah,
and like you were by your the shape of your skull, they were supposed to be able to tell if you were a good person, a bad person, if you were a killer, actually, like more specifically, a killer, a thief, or if you didn't have enough cognitive abilities.
Yeah,
it was a tiny bit wrong, but yeah. That's what was thought to be science at the time.
I mean, I'm surprised we don't hear Dr. Mortimer say he'd like to get his hands on what's his name? Oh, that's gone right off my head. Selden's skull.
That's true.
Because surely that's the most interesting. I'm having a little look at my favourite, which I think is Henry Baskerville, who he's so cute in it.
I'm surprised.
There is one point which I'm just like, don't be this man because you're nice. But yeah, they meet him and he's upstairs and he's going on about his boot, and then he does his by thunder thing, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, gentlemen, like you shouldn't meet me like that. I'm not usually one to be upset about a trifle, and like I really like that. But
Skulls and blood.
That's what I love.
Yes. And even John Clay is like, John Clay has royalty in his blood, but he's a criminal.
One of my favorite writers for a reason. and it's because I love darkness. That dark element, but that is not. I mean, it's not nothing. It shows that not everything is white or black.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
dark.
grey area.
It's not black. There's always something good in evil and evil in good. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love. Where's my hand? I love this as an observation. Oh, okay. Fair enough. We'll just say you said Sherlock Holmes. That's fine. Yeah, other establishing moments. I think the women don't get a really fair shot at having a personality, so I don't think we can really count them. Obviously, you've got Holmes just demonstrating his skill.
LL shows like she's nice, but she has a character. Like she's the one who sets her ground and goes like, you're not going to fool me and go away with it.
Yeah.
I guess what I find difficult about her portrayal is I find her very much to be like a Victorian man. Oh, it's prize time.
Oh!
So, what you might not know is at a random point, we are giving away some prizes to the person who has last commented, and that is you, Raquette. So you have won your pick of, you can have a digital copy of any of the pieces of artwork that we have put in our competition. So I will message you either after the show, if I'm still awake, or on Monday when everything's finished, and I'll get your email and you can choose if you want colour Holmes, black and white Holmes, Watson, Moriarty, or Toby. And yeah, we'll do that. And if you somehow end up winning the physical copy, we can sort that out, make it all cool. But we're going to have one more prize drawing for the entire set of digital copies at an unknown point later in our conversation. But that, I think, is also a good time for us to move along to the spoilery half of our conversation.
Yeah, so if you don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah, so we'll give you 30 seconds to depart if you don't want to be spoiled. That's
what
fair
we can
enough.
do is silence the volume, and then we'll let you know when we stop. Yeah, we could add a banner for a moment.
We're about to do spoilers. While we wait for either people to leave now live or for people to stop watching in the future, what is your favourite adaptation? We all know mine, so what's your favourite adaptation?
I don't know, mine changes.
And we know Rax's as well.
Oh yeah, we do know.
Favorite adaptation? That's an easy one for me. And you already know the answer to that.
Is yours the modern one as well? Yeah, it's good fun.
I think I'm going to go old school and say the Baskervilles version. I mean,
What? I'm
sorry. I really like
it. That is surprised.
Got it.
So much. Yeah, Rax, obviously Benedict. We know where your heart is, and that's cool.
I mean,
Baskervilles send that choice to us, Sabrina.
Okay, right. Baskervilles gets a lot of stick because obviously most people know his home as in the Second World War fighting the Nazis. But before it went to that, it was it Universal, Warner Brothers? I can't remember which studio had it. They did The Hound of the Baskervilles and The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes in full period Sherlock Holmes. And actually their Holmes is, Rathbone's really good at it, but their Hound is quite spot on. It hits all the beats. Yeah. It's got the atmosphere. The moor's really good. Yeah, it's all on soundstage and everything, but they've got the money to spend on it. And you watch it in black and white. It's really atmospheric. Watson gets first billings. Nigel Bruce at this point, because he's really early on. I think it's the first time they filmed him actually. He is Watson from the books. He's smart.
Oh, so he's not as bumbly.
That's a much later Nigel Bruce. And he really does carry the story really well. The Henry in there is actually quite a nice chap. The women, again, because it's based so closely to the book, they don't get a good innings. But I think it's a really good adaptation for the time period, and like I say, it hits everything from the books. And we even have reference to Holmes' drug use right at the end, which is not normally cut now. They don't like that last line.
Doesn't he say something like "Bring me the needle" or something?
What's the needle? It's literally the last line as the music comes up, and it's normally cut. But yeah, it's so it's even there right early on, and I mean, I will defend it quite happily because I think it's such a good version of Hound, without all the
he does look like him.
With it. So yeah,
I mean, that has made me think very differently about it, because I think, obviously, I'm a big Brett fangirl in general, but also the Sherlock Holmes series. But I mean, you can definitely, like, as much as I'm an apologist for those, after the first season, it just goes downhill, which is probably no one's fault, because Jeremy Brett was ill and it all got a bit muddy. But I would. I would still say that's the best adaptation, even though I think there are 5 series, and really I'm talking about the first series. So maybe I'll watch Hound of the Baskervilles or Rathbone. Maybe you've won me round.
Modern films.
Modern film.
Like the Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, Sorry,
I
like them.
Yeah, but he's not Sherlock.
Well, there's a lot of canon stuff in there. Like, I was watching it the other night. I only watched the first half, which probably says I don't like it that much. But I saw so many lines that were just straight out of the books. And that surprised me, because I kind of thought, oh, this rip-roaring Guy Ritchie. But it's, I mean, I think we forget about it now because we've got BBC Sherlock, and obviously that is a giant, and it does overshadow a lot of stuff because it's very good. But they're not terrible. You like them, Serena, don't you?
The thing for me, because I grew up with my Holmes is the Radio 4 Holmes. It's Clive Merrison and Michael Williams. Awesome stuff. You get to listen to it. But the Holmes in those stories, he's very much a man of action. You know, he's always doing something. He's always on the move. And for me, Robert Downey Jr. is a man of action. He's the Holmes that I grew up with as a teenager. I think sometimes we forget that actually Holmes does go out. He wears disguises. He gets into fights. You know, he's actively doing something. He doesn't just sit in his chair and think. That's what his brother does.
That's Minecraft, yeah.
Exactly. So I think, you know, sometimes we get a bit overshadowed that, you know, Brett's home is very much in the chair smoking his pipe. It's kind of that image.
He does a bit of leaping around in the first season. I think, like, there's a point where he vaults a couch for no reason.
Yes.
In the Red-Headed Lead, I think.
Yeah, flying and everything.
But yes, obviously he gets ill and then he stops leaping around and crawling on the floors.
Some of that
Peter Cushing. Yes, that's a good show.
Good Cushing as well, yes.
Yeah, I did enjoy that the other day. Yeah.
There was another adaptation somebody chose. Raquette chose The Great Mouse Detective.
I love that.
So cute.
I only know that because of the readathon. And now I'm like, oh, I loved it. Yeah, definitely going to watch it.
Nice.
It's so cute. And it's so outlandish. And like, I think if you grew up watching it as a kid, you kind of just go, oh yeah, that's happening. Watching it for the first time as an adult, I was just like, what's going on?
Out there, fun. It is so much fun. It really is. Considering it's sort of forgotten Disney period, because you know people kind of forget Disney after Cinderella and then they remember it again at Little Mermaid.
Renaissance. Yeah.
Back in that period where actually Disney were doing some cracking stuff. It's just people don't remember it. So yeah.
Sherlock Gnomes. I've not seen that.
I've seen a bit of it, and actually I was very impressed with the portrayal of Sherlock as a gnome. I thought he was really good, which I don't know what it says.
You've seen everything, you two. No, Rax and Sabrina.
But
nice.
I have to start trying with that one. Yeah.
Okay, I'll watch it. I'll be good. I've got a week off next week, so I'll watch it then.
I can start on the 24th.
When you're done.
Yeah. You're nearly there.
Because if I like something, I tend to go binge watching. So yeah.
Me too. But when you finish, it'll basically be Christmas, and you can just enjoy all the Christmas stuff.
Well, I will spend Christmas alone, as it seems. So I'd rather watch.
Because of Corona.
Yeah, because I don't have a family. My parents died already. I don't have brothers and sisters. I don't have aunts or uncles either, which is very strange. Yeah, my parents were both only children, so yeah.
Hold on.
So I don't have a partner either. So yeah, I think I'll spend Christmas with Sirius, which is good.
As long as he gets like a Christmassy outfit, like you got to do that. I think after Halloween.
Let's see what happens.
Rack saw it in the cinema. She was the only adult. The rest of the audience were adults with children. I love that. Oh.
Okay.
It's when you used to go to a Disney film and you were the only older person. Everybody else had kids, and you were the student. Yeah.
But Disney is so fun.
I know.
It's you for Universal. It's for everyone. Right. Well, I think we've given anyone who wanted to run away enough time to run away. So spoil me, Sabrina.
Oh, do you want a spoil question then?
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Oh, Rocket has to go. Bye,
scared.
Rocket. Thanks for dropping in, and I'll message you about your winnings
Oh,
on the Discord.
bye, Rocket.
Okay, run Erin.
It was good having you.
Cool. Okay. Big spoiler. So I'm hoping no one's still watching. Is Stapleton a good villain?
Ooh, I love this.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and get my book.
All serious now.
Why do you think he is, Anna?
Okay. I think it is because he's brilliant and he shows it in the way he does things. Like he knows how to get things done. So he's got a great, you call it forensic awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows what he has to do not to get caught, and he has good on the spot ideas. Like when he the way he reacts to the moment when it's unexpected. I like to imagine actually his face, his expression when he got surprised a couple of times,
and then quickly covers it.
Exactly. So I think that makes him a good villain on the side. What annoyed me was my friend, the doctor, yes, we know it's your friend. He says that a few times, and I'm like, yeah, we know. It's fine.
If he says it enough, it'll be true. Yeah.
But I think in general, he makes a good villain. I mean, a good villain to fight Sherlock.
Absolutely. Right. So I agree with you. Time for all the notes. So there's a point where towards the end, Holmes and Stapleton meet. So Stapleton has let the Hound out with the hope of killing Sir Henry. The Hound has instead got Selden. And then he's on the moor because obviously he's let the dog out. And then Holmes and him have a little, oh, you go back to London tomorrow, do you? Yeah, that's my intention. They have a little thing. I wrote below, Stapleton's and Holmes match wits again. Round 1, the cab, Stapleton 1, Holmes 0. Because obviously Stapleton's in the cab, he gets away, he does this little snarky thing like, oh, Sherlock Holmes. And maybe as well, it's partially because Holmes made a mistake there. Then on the moor, I would call that a draw because neither both suspect the other of suspecting them, but nothing really happens. And then obviously there's round 3, which Sherlock just wins. Like he hasn't accounted for the fog, and Sir Henry does get like jumped on and stuff. So and has to go on his round the world trip to recover. So I think he's a good villain in that he is actually a match for Holmes. And I think I'd compare him to Moriarty. Is Moriarty a good villain? Obviously, in the adaptations, yes. But is he a good villain in the books? Like, he basically, Holmes rounds up everybody that's associated with him in the final problem. Moriarty realizes he's done for, and then he just goes to fight Sherlock Holmes to the death on a little suicide mission, and then Holmes wins. I think there's an argument that Stapleton a better villain than Moriarty? Ooh.
Oh, no, good point.
I
Scandal.
actually agree. I was constantly thinking of Moriarty with Stapleton. But the image, I mean, Stapleton fits even better the image of Moriarty we get from the adaptations.
Yeah.
It's more accurate.
I think I would say who I think Stapleton is like in the Holmes canon would be Charles Augustus Milverton. I think he's more of an analogue to him, particularly in, I think personally, what I find most evil about Stapleton is not that he's trying to hunt down this lord of the manor with a dog. That's bad. But like, that's not what I find super evil about him. I find that the way that he treats the women that are around him, and he's evidently like an abusive person, inflicting first coercive control and then actual violence. And I do find that kind of like super evil and horrible and frightening in a way that murder isn't. Maybe because I don't think I'm likely to be like hunted down by a dog, but
Certainly manipulated by someone is a more realistic prospect.
Yeah, and I've experienced that. So I think when I was reading it, and this is the first time I think I've read it as like a happily married person with a lovely husband who doesn't do that and is perfect in every way. Hi Tom, if you're watching. But reading that now and reading what the women say about how he treats them, I think it's pretty spot on. And that was something that surprised me because I didn't think Arthur Conan Doyle would be particularly adept at representing that. It's unlikely that he's experienced that. But I thought it was a pretty stark and sad and truthful depiction of what it's like to be manipulated by that kind of evil man. I think he loses it a bit towards the end, but, you know, in general, not bad. That's what I find super evil about him.
I have a question for you.
Why?
Who do you think was the piece that made everything fit? Like,
say again.
Whatever, if you believe there was a character that kept everything together, like gave us the real line, like, made everything happen the way it happened at the end.
Ooh. Who's orchestrating the events, you mean?
There's one to me, yes. Like kind of the linker that made everything fit everything else and put all in place.
I guess obviously Stapleton's doing a bit of masterminding, but I think without Beryl, Miss Stapleton, things would have been very different. Her interventions are really key, aren't they? From the letter at the beginning. And I think it's only after that letter is received and analysed that Holmes sends Watson and also goes himself. I think that's because, you know, there's a story about this hound and someone's died and someone's seen a footprint. But then an actual warning has been sent by someone who is in fear of their own life.
This is actually something you can work with. And to go
that's the inciting incident for sure. And then obviously later on, she tells us what's happened, clues us all in. I don't know. What do you think? Were you feeling a particular way with your question?
Yes, and actually it reminds me of other stuff that I don't know if are inspired here or the other way around or what. And to me, it's Cartwright. Cartwright is the child, the teenager.
The guy that
he's the one that runs the errands from the beginning of the story for Sherlock. And he's the one that finds out everything. I mean, without him, Sherlock wouldn't have been able to do his thing.
He wouldn't have his
Without
letters from Watson.
him, would have been killed. I mean, without him, they wouldn't have known anything about the hotel, like the place where the killer might have been hiding. Cartwright is the one who does everything. He's the one.
This is why people voted for the irregulars in the poll. Yeah, for sure.
And I that figure, the Cartwright figure, reminded me of Charles Chaplin. I mean, I don't know if the idea of, have you watched The Kid by Charles Chaplin? With Charles Chaplin. Mm-hmm.
No.
Ooh. You have
not Charlie Chaplin with the little moustache.
That one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You kept saying Charles Chaplin, and I was like, are we referring to Charlie Chaplin in a formal way, or is it another man? Charlie Chaplin. Yes. I'm aware of him. I haven't watched lots. I know that's why Hitler grew that
childhood's the one who helps because they're more, let's say, awake. Like they're not limited in their train of thought. So they will be skillful in finding out the things and getting to the places and not being as seen, because it's normal for them to be sneaky and it's normal. So that figure of the child that is the key to everything, but it's never there. It is
never recognized either.
Yeah. That it was not the first or last time it was used, was it?
No, I mean that's a trope that comes up, for sure. I mean, I guess the other answer to your question about who is the instigator is Laura Lyons, because she sends the letter to Sir Charles that gets him where he is, and she later turns on Stapleton and provides the more evidence, doesn't she? But
it's too easy. Laura Lyons' side is too easy.
We're coming to that discussion. Worry not.
I find she's kind of forced.
She's
to be able to solve everything. But she wasn't needed.
No, I don't think so either. Sabrina, do you have anything to say about your own question? I don't know if we let you answer it. I don't know.
I mean, I would say he is a good villain because I mean he's got the fact out. He wants the money. That's the only reason he's doing this, for the money. You know, the fact he's able to get his wife to be his sister. So like you say, he's got the manipulative aspect to him. He's a bully. I think it was Rax that was saying, you know, he's a criminal, he's a creep, and he's playing the gentleman. I mean, that's always, you know, Doyle does that a lot, crossing the class boundaries, as it were. You know, you can't be a criminal and a gentleman. You're either one or the other, and the fact that Stapleton plays with that completely by being a gentleman, and the fact he's supposed to be a teacher, so a man of learning. And
teachers are meant to be good.
And they really are in classic literature. There's obviously a thing about against teachers.
A lot of writers who didn't like their teachers.
You know, but I think he ticks so many boxes about, you know, he's quite likable, to be honest. You know, he's got a deep, interesting hobby. You know, I mean, if you didn't know about the abuse that was going on.
Oh, I suppose so. I mean, I just think if I met him, I'd just be like, oh, you're such a weird, creepy dude. Like, the whole thing about the more ponies, like, I feel like there's a sort of relish in the way that he's like, I saw it. Like, I imagine it in this really, like, heavy breathing kind of way. Like, I saw a more pony and it went into the quicksand and it died. It was screaming for hours. Like, I just think, oh, why are you such a creep?
he's just telling Watson that this is what happens on the moor. You know, don't go on the moor because it's dangerous. And I look at it, he's imparting information that is unsettling and creepy, but he's just imparting information to someone to just basically say, look, stay off the moor. It's not your place. You know?
Stay away from my big dog that I've kept. I mean, he obviously does come across well because he manages to befriend Sir Charles, doesn't he? And I think he wouldn't be able to plant all these seeds of fear about the legend unless they were actual good friends. And I think I love watching him with Watson in their first interaction, sort of be like, oh no, I don't think it's true. And leading to Watson to be like, oh, that guy does think it's true as well. Like, and the bit about the bitten, I love that. Like the whole thing of, I am going to let you believe that I think that this tale is real, but I'm also going to guide you away from thinking that this particular real physical sign is true. I mean, it's clever. He is a good villain, I think, in summary.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a spoilery question for you, which we're going to try really hard not to just talk about for an hour. And I'm going to try and listen more than I speak. Here we go. Did you find the actions of the female characters in the book believable?
I think the first thing we have to do is remember the time period this is written in. You know, this is late Victorian era. Women have a place. They don't have the vote yet. They are property, you know, either by their father or their husband. So I think we have to remember that quite
absolutely.
Okay, but regardless,
let's have a rant.
God, here we go. Right, Beryl Stapleton. She's obviously been abused emotionally and physically. I dread to think what the background is to her character. So, despite all that, she writes the warning letter. She runs up to Watson saying, for God's sake, go back to London, you know, go away and all that, thinking it's Sir Henry. She does try to defy her husband as much as she can. You know, she won't get involved with Sir Charles to bring him to his death. She won't do it. So despite all that abuse and that, she's still got this level of, I'm not doing that. There are things I am drawing the line at, and that is it. And probably for the time period, that's as much as she can do. She's got no one to go to. I mean, it's referenced she's Spanish, isn't it?
South America, I believe.
So
don't they talk about her Spanish blood at one point? And I was just a bit like, oh, dear.
But you know, she's obviously not got any family. She's got no friends, so she has no one to go to. So she's trapped in this terrible situation that she can't get out of, and she's kind of got to toe the line a little bit. So her defying as much as she can, I believe. And when it comes to the point of, no, I'm not going to let you murder this man that actually I kind of care about, and I think, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not part of this. This is my problem with her characterization. Laura Lyons. I mean, that's the other one. Yeah, she needed.
We will talk about. We're going to refer to what Rax is saying when we talk about Laura Lyons, because I think Rax makes several good points about this. But yes, Beryl Stapleton. I think I was happy with Conan Doyle's characterization really quite a lot with her, and then it just came down to the motivation at the end. So at the end. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, so her depiction as a woman who is suffering abuse and is in this position and can't escape, I like and find true to life. The bit I don't like is that the reason that she stops putting up with that is not, as we would imagine and think was reasonable, that she is kind of falling in love with Sir Henry or she sees that he's a good man. The reason that it's stated that she does that is because she finds out that Stapleton has been courting Laura Lyons. That I find utterly ridiculous, especially because infidelity is often a tool used by abusers in those kind of relationships. And with Laura Lyons, who again, relatively good. We can see what Rax says here. She needs the divorce. She's trapped. She needs that benefactor. And she's very rebellious for her time. And obviously she has an awful father who just wants to go around suing everybody for no reason other than he likes that, and he's going to run out of money anyway. But she, again, the reason that Holmes is able to get her to tell him what's been going on is because he's like, oh, well, it's not his sister, it's his wife. And she's like, she's like, right, I'll tell you what you want to know. And I just think, okay, so these women, I go with you that women or men, people, can be horribly manipulated in those kinds of relationships, and you can see the kind of behavior that we've seen. But it's the point where basically jealousy is the reason. And I think then, instead of Conan Doyle saying the reason that these women have put up with this situation is because they have no choice, at that point I think then he's saying women will do anything for a man they love, and then when they find out he doesn't love them, then they'll betray him. And I think
but that's the thing with jealousy. Jealousy is more a matter of possession than anything else. And there are many pathologically jealous people who would act like that. Like my main aim in our relationship is that you stay with me, because it's either with me or in trouble. I was going to say, it's like either with me or you're done. I'm going to destroy you, because you have to be with me or nothing. So that's a common behavior even nowadays. Like, it hasn't disappeared. It happens every day. I hear news about that, things like that every day. Like, many women are killed because of that. Because they started a new life with a new person, and the ex-partner couldn't stand that and killed them. And I did believe that. I mean, I would think it's believable, but not normal. Like, not appropriate, not good, not a good thing a good point to be at, mentally speaking, and not a good action to do. But it is possible. Like, there are people who act like that. Still,
but for both of the women in the book to be jealous of.
I mean, do whatever you do to destroy the other person because it's either with you or nothing.
But that's crazy, isn't it? So basically, if that's true, Arthur Conan Doyle is saying Beryl Stapleton, as forthright as she is, as a nicer person as she is, trying to warn Sir Henry, he at the end is basically saying, well, she didn't care as long as she could be with him, and he loved him, and he loved her. And I think that's basically a quote.
But that's possible. That happens. I mean, I don't understand it either, but I know it happens. It's more common than you would think.
What, that a woman would put up with being abused, but being cheated on was the last resort?
No, that a person would choose having the person with them or nothing, on top of even their own self-esteem and well-being.
I think that's true, but I think where that's... we'll let Sabrina talk next. But I think I think when that's the case, that you would accept infidelity. If you're saying, I don't care, I just need you, and that totally does happen, absolutely, I think you'd accept infidelity. Oh, Sabrina, tell us your point, but I'm going to make a note of that one.
You have to remember Hound was the serialization in the Strand, so obviously he's got the word limit, and for his readers, they're mainstream readers. These are not people that study psychology or anything. They've got a small circle of friends. They have their own social classes. And for them, jealousy is a very simple reason for someone to turn on another character. It's an instant, right, I understand. Yeah, I get why you've turned him in. Doesn't matter that you're married to him. I understand because you're now jealous. and it's an easy shorthand, particularly when you've got a word limit. So I think that's probably why women are down to being jealous to the fact that they were being played by Stapleton.
Should have let you made that point earlier because that's so spot on.
Sorry.
Right. So Rax, and I think this is such a well-deserved prize because, I mean, obviously you've not seen Rax's face very much in this readathon, apart from on the screen now as her little picture. But Rax has done so much work for this readathon. Literally, brought so many people in who've not done a readathon before but know her through like the Sherlock circles, and she does the amazing film clubs which are so well run. She puts so much work into them, so I'm really happy that Rax, you've won all 5 digital copies of the artwork. So obviously I already have your email, so I'll be in touch, and that'll be a nice thing. Yay, Rax. Isn't that nice? Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe we can say it's pretty good for its time.
I think where it falls down is when you've got modern adaptations that do not sort out those problems with the women, that they have this 2-dimensional flat, Victorian women, and
Rax is happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think, as much as I love a bit of canon, I think if you get a chance to rectify the yay I'm happy too, you deserve them. If you get a chance to rectify the sexist and ridiculous notions, then why not? Even if you keep them in but challenge them. Personally, I'm a big fan of that. Yes, nice. Oh, yay. I'm just really happy that Rax has won. But yes. Spoil me again, Sabrina. Give me your last question.
I think it carries on a bit from what we've just discussed, Hold on. I really should have written these down. No, it's a completely different question. That's because you nicked it. That's why. Okay, so how does not having Holmes in this story affect Hound? Is there good points and bad points? So not having Sherlock Holmes main feature, how does it affect the Hound of the Baskervilles as a story in a whole?
I think it delays it. It delays the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's like dilating the outcome, because it certainly always keeps that direction is going to it, but when Sherlock appears, there's boom, like that's what I was missing.
Yeah,
like it's just when Sherlock comes in that everything starts unveiling properly. Like in a way, I believe that shows that Watson with a Sherlock and Sherlock without Watson don't really, like they need each other.
Yes. Yeah, totally. I mean, I think I'm always thinking about it from why is Arthur Conan Doyle doing this sort of thing. So I guess your point about it delays the story, absolutely. And I think the more I read of him, the more you see, even in the short stories, how he just delays us finding stuff out so that the mystery can happen. And sometimes it's a bit transparent. But in this one, for sure. So he wrote this in the serial, but it's like a monthly serial. It's not weekly. It's just every month you get a chapter of the book. So he wrote it from August to April, I think. So he's obviously every part that he publishes, he gets paid for. So he's got very good motivation to really string it out. And obviously we know the reason he's written it is to make money. And then there's also, he doesn't really like Sherlock Holmes. So he's just keeping him out of the story a bit.
Maybe. That's his motivation.
I love seeing Watson shine though. I kind of wish maybe when Holmes had died, this is terrible because I love Holmes, but maybe when Holmes had died, Watson had just taken over and started doing it. Because I think he's pretty good, isn't he?
Have you guys seen the film Without a Clue with Michael Caine and Ben Kingsley?
Without a Clue?
Clue. 1988. It's in this one, Michael Caine plays Sherlock Holmes, who's a hired actor to play the role of Holmes, and Ben Kingsley Watson, who has written these stories, but he has solved the mysteries, and instead of to hire, he's written the stories and created Sherlock Holmes. And then people want to meet Holmes, so he hires an actor to play the role. It's very, very funny. It's obviously
I watched that. Onto my watch list.
I watched that, but it was so many years ago. I didn't remember it. And then I checked it out just now, and I was like, that's it.
That one. It's really clever. It could be canon, and it hits all beats, lots of references and that. But it does the whole actually what is the brains, and Holmes is the actor. He's the sidekick, and I think Hound might have been the inspiration for that, because obviously Watson he's the centerpiece of this one, which by keeping Holmes out, like you say, yes, delays the story, but it builds up the atmosphere and gives us Watson as the front storyteller.
And I think he does it, like Conan Doyle does a pretty good job of having Watson fill Holmes's shoes to a certain extent in terms of the deduction without compromising Watson's character. Because I think you still get those bits where like Watson's well suspicious of Stapleton, because he's not Stapleton, of Barrymore, just because he's got a beard. He's just like, it's him. And every time he's like, he's suspicious. And you're like, oh, Watson. It's never who you think it is. It's never the most obvious person. Unless it is like Christie all over it.
Girls, would you like to try and get certain scavenger hunt done live while the others
Yes.
I mean, if you want to do it now, you can do it now.
Yeah, I'm upstairs. Let's. Oh goodness. I'm just so excited now.
It's exciting. Okay. So whoever watches, you have until tomorrow, until 1 hour before the closing of the readathon to get the books ready. So you have time.
11 p.m. Sunday, the 15th, in your time zone. In your time zone, because I think people can still participate in their time zone. If you're in Australia, it's already gone. In that case.
Well, yeah, then your time is okay. You ready?
No. Okay. Sabrina's actually in her library. My library's next door, so you're going to see me running in and out.
Oh, that's it. That running part makes it more fun. So
okay, let's do it.
The Hound, the ghost of a huge dog, theoretically.
Oh.
Find a book with the supernatural element on the cover.
On the cover?
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on, I'm plugged in.
Dropping all my books. But there we go. I think a dragon counts, right?
There we go.
I love that book.
There you go.
I'm trying to get to Fires of Vengeance too. Okay. So one on the side, you can take the pic later with all of them.
Yeah.
We'll put it on the pile.
Hold on. I need to put it somewhere I'm not going to trip over.
We can't reuse them, can we?
I try not to.
No.
Go on then.
Good question. Okay. Watson is instructed to keep his gun with him at all times. Find a book with a weapon on the cover.
Oh, hold on.
Flick, you're just lucky. Teeny tiny weapon I can barely
It's an axe.
There you go.
Nice.
They are
strong. I'll put it on the pile.
Okay. Barrymore, the man with the beard, suspected for the most part of the story. Find a book with facial hair on the cover.
Oh,
Hold on.
Yes.
No, that's too young. Oh.
Yay!
Got a
I don't have any
moustache.
books with faces on. Hold on. What have I got down here? Hold on. Here we go. Ah. Oh, there's the camera. It's the Hogfather script book. He's got a false
Okay.
beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay.
No,
That's right.
Mine-
Okay.
mine's a textbook about the First World War. It's not quite as fun.
Sir Charles Baskerville, the victim. Find a book where a victim doesn't die.
Ooh.
That's hard. Okay, if it doesn't die, the victim who doesn't die.
Spoilers.
I
I can't tell you why, but
I never said they were meant to die, but I said the victim doesn't die.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure one of these down here does. Which one is it? Is it that one? I think it's.
How do you like it, Drax?
There we go. Where's the camera? I never know where the camera is. There we go. Sandstorm. It's one of my husband's books. He's an archaeologist in here, and obviously archaeology. Think Tomb Raider and Indiana Jones. So yeah,
yes.
should die lots.
Nice.
Okay. Hugo Baskerville, the bad one.
Yeah.
Womanizer, and who knows what else. So find a book with a character who takes advantage of others.
That was easy.
That was the quickest. No.
That was a lot easier.
Laura Lyons, LL. Listen carefully. Find a book whose title starts with L. Bonus point if 2 words start with L.
Oh, I hate ones like this because my mind goes blank. L. I've got W. Does that count?
Or if the title starts and finishes in L, there's also a bonus point.
Oh, God. Oh, true.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go to my actual library.
No, she didn't. Rags, she didn't. Flick didn't know.
No, she just got her books beside her. L, I need a book with that one.
Yeah, I'm
Hold
just
on,
surrounded by
disappear
books.
for a minute. Hold on.
You got me.
Can you still hear me from the library?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So I have a backup, but I want to get that bonus point.
Rags, can you try and find yours?
Okay, so I have L in the title and L by the author.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So
I've only got a book that starts with L.
I have The Language of Bees by Laurie R. King, which is also a Sherlock Holmes book. Smash.
Nicely. Nice done.
Yeah, very nicely done.
I'm glad we're upstairs.
Okay.
I think my one's next door. I've got I've got love languages. No, I'm not. I can't reach. It's on the very top shelf. I can't reach it. It's a hubby.
Oh, you've got the love languages.
Yeah,
book.
I've got the love languages book. There we go.
You know you have up to tomorrow Eve for the
I
pitch.
will.
I didn't know about it, Rex. I don't cheat. I'm good.
You're just damn organised.
After we've let you win the lovely prizes, now you besmirch my reputation. Like, what is this?
Oh, it's a free shot.
Sherlock Holmes, the homeless mystery guy. So find a book in which there's an extra mysterious character.
Extra mysterious.
Yes. Like no normal mystery find me, but something that got you specially. What?
Oh, hold on.
Okay, off I go to the library.
I think
BRB.
that one's Dodger.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I might go with that one.
Uh,
No, going on what hubby said, yeah, I think this one fulfills that prompt. There we go.
serious character.
Yay, Sabrina got it first!
Oh, it's a joke.
No!
Finally!
I'm tidying up my books now.
Oh, I've chosen Scythe.
Oh, this is good. Yeah, that's up there.
Oh, yes.
I can't reach that from here. I've got to get up.
Fair.
I have mine too, my copy
Yeah.
here too. But I don't know why. I absolutely loved Scythe.
Oh,
But I have not read the second or the third
no,
installment.
neither have I. They're both on my TBR.
Oh, we could probably read them.
Like, yeah, no. I would love that. I need an excuse to buy them because they're always. So I buy my books by having a TBR and then putting the ISBNs into this like little search engine which tells you the cheapest way to buy that book. So they're never the cheapest book, so I never buy them.
I'm not gone, by the way.
Popular.
So don't get comfortable.
I thought that was it. Oh, okay.
And
Don't
then
get comfortable. Cartwright. How could I exclude Cartwright? The teenager who makes everything fit. So find a book. Oh, find a middle grade with that kind of hero on the cover.
Yes.
Oh, that's literally a hero.
Yeah, I win.
Okay. That's literally a hero.
Do I get more for having 5 books?
How is my son's room?
Okay. Selden.
Selden.
More.
I know there's more. I'm terrified now.
The murderer. He was a murderer.
Yes.
True.
Find a book with murder either on the title or somehow on the cover.
Title on the cover.
All my Agatha Christie's are downstairs.
Murder on the cover is
I can't get to that.
interpretation.
Run.
Well,
Running all the way
creative.
downstairs.
Murder.
I'm looking for Murder in the Muse. That's what I'm going to grab.
Right. What are you doing with the scavenger?
Murder Vicarage. Yes. I've scavenged. My husband's looking at me like, what's happening?
That's normal, isn't it?
Go.
God, I can't.
Oh!
Oh, yes.
See, you're willing to leg it round the house. I can't. I can't sit.
No.
You can. Take them off and go and come back. It's fine.
I can't get the cupboard. There's a box. Why is there a box in front of the cupboard? That's the Christmas
That
tree
cupboard
box.
has not been your friend.
No, it's not.
I'm still out of breath.
But yeah, Agatha Christie, Murder in the Muse, Murder on the Orient Express, and yes, I've got that copy. Yes,
Favourite.
they are. You're holding out for me. There you go.
You cannot win. It's the same copy.
Is there any more?
Okay.
I've almost broken it now.
Stapleton.
Stapleton, the butterfly guy.
The crazy scientist.
Mm.
Find a book with a scientific element on the cover.
Oh, God, hold on.
Sabrina finally decided to take her headphones off.
Oh,
Code breaking probably doesn't count.
yeah. He's a detective. That's science.
Oh,
Grasp in there.
There you go.
nice. That was quick, actually. It was like clear in your mind from the beginning.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Sorry, Flick.
Come on, I'm sure you have something with a scientific element.
Spells and charms. I was going maybe alchemy.
Not really.
I'm struggling with that. Give me a second. I'll pop to the
No
library.
problem.
Go for it.
Come on, we're nearly done.
Go.
We're missing 2.
2 more to go. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I'm I'm trying to think what I've got round me now.
Okay, I'm going to really reach with this one,
Okay.
but I feel like blood's pretty scientific.
Yeah, forensic.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Four Dead
Fair
Kings.
enough.
Really good. If you haven't read Four Dead
I like
Kings,
that creativity.
it's pretty schlocky and fun.
Dartmoor.
Oh.
Find a book with the creature that comes from folklore.
Creature from folklore.
Ooh.
Oh, hold on. Where is it? There we go. It's Korean mythology. She's a nine-tailed fox.
Oh, nicely
Ah,
done.
that one is.
Oh, good old Anne McCaffrey. She's going to save the day for me.
Oh yes, dragons, obviously.
Obviously dragons. And I'm wearing a dragon top.
Oh, that's very cool.
This is my Skyrim Christmas jumper.
Why not?
Why not?
Very nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Emma, for lending these to me.
And the last one is the fog. Because of course the fog is an important character here.
Yeah.
Find a book with fog or clouds on the cover.
Sugar.
Folly!
That was quick.
It's because it's next to me, so I'm like, what if she says anything about nature? I'm going to grab Folly. I've also got my Evolutions bookmark.
My camera picking that up. I've got.
Oh, I've been dying to read
That
her
counts.
books.
Yeah, I've got red clouds. There you go. Oh.
Hey, we're done. Woo.
Wait, I have to go to the gym tomorrow. Great.
I don't want to make it that easy, so that's why I chose more. Because
That
I
was
thought,
good fun.
That's good. I now have a precarious stack of books in the corner.
Me too. I'm just splitting them into two piles rather than one.
Stay there.
no, everyone has until tomorrow, 11 p.m. your time, Sunday, to get the picture with the scavenger hunt on the Discord.
Yeah, and we'll.
It's of books. If
Yes.
but try to make it picture. I mean, even if you don't have them physically, but on ebook or something, try to get the collage or something.
Yeah.
So we can
And
see them.
for this and the previous scavenger hunt, I will at random take the whole entries and we'll randomly pick an entry to get another digital copy of one of the art prints. So that's motivation. Other than it was so much fun, did you see us doing it?
That was a lot harder anyway.
Yeah.
It was fun. I had fun watching you.
So much.
It's lucky I'm in my office. Whew.
That was it for me. That was my little surprise.
Okay, so I have the perfect ending question, which is, what do you think happens to each of the main characters, apart from Holmes and Watson, after the end of the book?
Whoa.
So what happened after the last page? I can read you the characters if you want. So, I mean, I think it's a very sudden ending.
Oh yeah.
Personally.
Okay.
Should we go to the opera? Yeah. So we've got Sir Henry.
Oh, he's gone on the year cruise, hasn't he, to go and sort his mental health out because he's had a terrible shock being mauled by a dog.
And we hear that he does recover. I guess.
Yeah.
What do you think he does after that?
Probably.
I feel like Dr. Mortimer gets a new dog. Yes. And I believe Rax was the person who was disappointed that the spaniel didn't die in the recent adaptation. I was just like, what? Yeah, he gets a new dog.
Gets a new dog. Mortimer. I suppose he'd just go back to his normal life because being the local country doctor, he's just going to get on with it.
Yeah.
So apparently, is he married in the book? I know he's married in the adaptation.
I don't think so.
I don't think he's married in the book, so knowing him, he's probably
I mean,
fine strange skull to pick up on the way.
I think, okay, so left field idea. I think it'd be quite nice if him and Miss Stapleton got together.
What, Mortimer?
Mortimer, yeah.
Stapleton.
Because he seems like quite a nice guy, bit of a quieter life.
Yeah.
And I don't think her and Sir Henry, that obviously isn't really going to happen, is it?
Not a good match.
After it.
No.
So Henry finishes the Baskerville Hall refurbishments. Yes, Rax, that is spot on. I agree. Because he hates how gloomy it is, doesn't he?
He wants all the electric lights up and everything. So yeah.
Yeah,
that makes
that's
sense.
a great one.
Laura
Lyons?
But I don't know.
I think Laura Lyons gets the divorce plus money and gets to be independent.
Moves out of that village, just moves on with her life.
Goes to London,
I think she
becomes
gets
very
to be
successful.
properly independent. Yeah.
Very much so.
Never remarries because she doesn't want to be with anybody. The Barrymores buy a pub and call it the Baskerville Arms. Strong.
Yes.
I like that one a lot. Yeah.
Who else have we got? I guess Franklin. I think he continues to sue people and he loses all his money, probably.
Died penniless in a cold, open grave. Yeah. Sorry.
Who was your least favourite character in the book, Sabrina?
Sorry?
Was it Franklin?
Not at all. We'll give it away.
I love that. Who else do we have? Oh, the Barrymores have done, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing someone, but...
Yeah, me too. Cartwright.
Cartwright's gone back
Cartwright.
to London.
Goes back to London.
And he's in the telegraph office, so he's learning his trade.
Or perhaps he becomes a detective on the side.
Forever, and then he turns into the next Sherlock.
That would make sense.
I think that'd be nice. What happens to Beryl Stapleton if she doesn't marry Mortimer in my weird canon?
She's going to sell all those dead butterflies, make loads of money, and move on. She's going to go to America.
Yep. The ghost of the Hound continues to haunt the moor, Rax. Love that. Very possibly.
I like that Spaniard reincarnating bad into a hound.
Yeah, it went up in the world.
Love that. And obviously, Stapleton?
Oh, well, we'd like to think he got sucked down into the bog and all that. You see, I've got this theory, because Stapleton behaves so much like we think Moriarty should behave, I reckon they're one and the same, you know.
Moriarty's... Yes, that's true. Because this is before I can bark in the chronology.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He actually
like
does
that.
make it and sets himself up as Moriarty.
And then him and Holmes have an altercation later on. Wow. I like that. I was just like...
Yeah, me too. I was like...
I mean, because of the slightly ambiguous ending, there are a lot of books where Stapleton comes back.
Yeah.
Including Laurie R. King. She does one as well, and she's a big player of the game. So hers is a really nice story. Hers is called The Moor. So if you really, really liked reading Hound of the Baskervilles and you just want something a little bit more spooky, The Moor, strong. Okay. I really like it. I read it earlier this year. It's very good. Nice. I think that's everybody. Obviously, Holmes and Watson go back to doing their sleuthing. Yeah, that's everybody, isn't it?
Is that
nice?
I think I'm missing someone. I don't know who.
I feel like we're missing someone too. What happened to the dog? The dog's dead, isn't he?
Yeah.
Bit of a shame. I feel bad for the dog.
Yeah,
can we talk about the representation of the dog? Because this was one of the things that surprised me, that I wanted to mention in the what surprised you section, but it's too spoilery. I was surprised by like how scary the Hound is. Because, well, like I wasn't that scared of it because I'm reading a book and I know that it's not really a hellhound, but it's the way that it's described. Yeah, a hound it was, an enormous coal-black hound, but not such a hound as mortal eyes have ever seen. Fire burst from its open mouth. Its eyes glowed with a smouldering gaze. Its muzzle and hackles and dewlap were outlined in flickering flame. So, like, because I feel like if I saw that, yeah, I'd be absolutely terrified. And I can totally understand why that killed Sir Charles. And I think I'd not remembered that is how the Hound is described in the book, because I always read it and think, oh, Sir Charles is a bit of an idiot. But that's terrifying, isn't it? And then I think, well...
It's for Henry as well. You know, it takes him a year to recover from this thing. So, yeah, the horrificness of it.
It's genuinely terrifying. And I think that really hurts the adaptations, because how do you... Yeah. And the idea is that Stapleton's only used phosphorus.
This is how I imagine the Hound to be. Like, I think of that Hound, and that's what I see in my head.
Yeah.
But giant.
Sure. Giant, yeah. Are you holding something? Because we can't see it.
Oh, no, I'm just...
No, I sent it.
You sent a link.
Oh, you sent a picture. Oh, I see it.
I can't get that open. Hold on. Can I do it on my pad?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I like that. Yeah. And I think that's probably is what it is. But the idea that somehow with phosphorus, Stapleton's managed to get it to breathe flame, essentially.
Yeah. To make it this hellhound.
And, like, maybe you could say, well, it's the Victorian era and they're not really used to special effects or whatever, or... I don't know. I'm always surprised, like, I'm always disappointed by the adaptations. And I think that's why, because it's just a really impossible standard to live up to.
Oh, yeah. Nice big draw there.
That's how I imagine it.
But yeah, that's sort of, sorry, yeah. that big face, big head.
Black.
Big dog, black as coal, But you're right, they can't get that on the screen. Even as CGI, you're never ever going to get this creature to look realistic, because at the end of the day, it's still a dog. So you'll CG up to make it look like it's hellhound, but it will never look real. Or you have the real dog, and it never looks like the hellhound it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. And I think obviously in the Jeremy Brett version they go for making it vaguely realistic. And I mean, obviously we're going to watch Hounds of Baskerville tomorrow, and we will discuss the Hound when we watch it. But I think they take a different tack there, don't they, of being able to make it scary by using the toxins and whatever.
I can't remember. So long since I've watched it.
Me too. Well, when I knew we were going to watch it for this back in August, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to delay rewatching that.
That's a tricky one, isn't it? I suppose that's where the radio adaptation really works, because they literally go from sound and the actor's response. They can do that element of, oh my God, what are we looking at? And you're left to leave it in your head as to what they're visualizing. This is why radio is better than television. The picture.
Nice. Wow.
I wanted to say that if somebody's watching the live at some point and they have a good Sherlock adaptation to recommend, either book or TV series, film, whatever recommendation from adaptations of Sherlock, they can add it on the comments on the video so we can have a look.
That'd be really nice. And if you do get any comments like that, we can just sling them in the Discord as well for people, because we have got a little thread going in there of like good media and stuff. Lovely. Well, we're coming up to 10 o'clock. So I think let's wrap up by what books have you got left for Sherlockathon, with basically 1 day to go?
1 day to go. You're kidding me. I've got Unravel the Dusk. I haven't started that at all because the plumbing, obviously. Caliban's War, which is my atone. So that's I know that's not going to happen. And Descendant of the Crane as well. I haven't got to reading that either.
With its lovely sprayed edges.
It's gorgeous.
That was the first one I picked up.
This is the sequel. Unravel the Dusk is a sequel to Spin the Dawn, and I've been meaning to read this all year. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I've got some major reading to do tomorrow.
Anna, what about you?
I have a few I'm not going to get to, but Here is what I have not finished. I have started and not finished. This one, Dad, I will finish. I will.
You will.
The Shadow of the Wind. So I'll finish that one in time. As I said a couple of days ago, measure for measure, that I will get finished also. Like one today, one tomorrow. That's fine. Aside from my assignment, I think I'll make it happen.
Yep.
And
Right.
I'll have to extend this a little bit to Monday or Tuesday. Arusha. This is I just take the
Yep.
Yeah.
don't back it off when I'm reading it. Already started also. So Arisha on the end of time. And the Poppy Wars already started. I don't know if I already said it.
Awesome. I love that book so much.
Yeah, I'm
I-
loving it so far. I'm on page 129 and I'm loving it.
I really want to read it.
You wait till
Yeah.
halfway and then it turns.
This is why I'm just not sure if I can read it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be traumatized, you guys.
It's handled very well.
I'm fine so far.
Yeah, no, it's.
But you haven't got to the bad bit.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
I don't know. Also, I'm missing that I'm not going to get to, but I promise. Take my word in here. There will be witnesses because this is being recorded. I will read these two by the end of the year. This is one by a Colombian author. I said it on my TBR video, but I love the art. Absolutely love it. And Sky Dip.
Oh, I need to read that.
Strong, yeah.
So we should
TBR
read
too.
it in December.
Yeah.
Oh, December is for Christmas reading.
Not necessarily, but
Where's for me?
we Vikings celebrate Yule in December.
That's true. That's very true.
So it applies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you have that.
And
You've got more.
Yeah, she's got another one. Train spotting as well.
Yeah.
And who could that be at this hour by Lemon is Naked? But that I'll sit down and read in half an hour. So I think I could finish 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think I can finish 3 by tomorrow evening.
One.
So within the readathon, which is great if I could, and then finish the rest this year. So I'll let you know.
Well,
Like
we'll be
when
watching
I read them and I record that, I'll let you know in my video. Like Flake and Sabrina, remember I told you I'd finish them off before because I have to on the 23rd, so I can read all these.
You read so many books, man. I mean, so I've got Folly, which I do have the audiobook of, so that does help me along a bit. I really like it. I'm just a bit like, is something gonna happen? So yeah, I've just got Folly. I'm not getting to I overcame my autism and all I got was this lousy anxiety disorder, which I pre-ordered in January. It came out in October. I still don't have my copy. There've been problems with the publishers. So I kind of thought if I run out of Sherlock books, I will buy the Kindle version and cancel my pre-order. But I really want the physical copy, and obviously, like, the author is another autistic woman, and I want to have her book in print, and I want to be able to lend it to people. So it's a bit annoying, but yes, otherwise not too bad. And then I might be able to read Rage of Dragons sequel and also Assassin's Apprentice sequel before December. When I will then just read Christmas books because I'm Christmas fanatic. Are either of you doing is it Christmasathon?
So I've just come across there's a reindeer one, isn't there? Reindeer readathon.
They break even books.
Yeah, so I'm doing
reading whatever I need to finish. I've got several Fairy Loot books I need to read. I've got obviously sequel to Rage of Dragons. Anything I haven't read this month will be going on that pile. I'm supposed to finish the Final Empire trilogy. So I've got book.
Crikey.
I've got book 3 of that to finish. I'm supposed to be finishing Wings of Rage and Ruin and whatever the third one in the Thorn and
Wrath
Roses.
and Ruin.
That's the one. I've got to finish that. I've been meaning to do that for the last 2 years and I haven't done that yet. I've got so many books that I said I would finish this year, and it's like December.
So
At the end of the year. Yeah.
I'm not doing a readathon. I can't.
But what if they did? I mean, what I do when I have many books I want to finish in a certain period of time, I check readathons and I check if those books fit there.
That's so calculated.
Exactly. I mean, if they fit, why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
So Rax has read 6 plus the Hound,
Well
which
done.
is smash.
Yeah,
I think Rax has a proper job as well. So
yeah, whereas I'm part time and I get bus reading time, so I'm quite
exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, all I do is read. So nice. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, and obviously you wanna. I mean, you're on Anna's channel anyway, so you might as well just subscribe. And I think Sabrina's channel,
wherever.
There we go. Will be
channel in our previous live in the description box.
In the description.
So I can do the same in this one if.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
We'll put all the stuff in the doobly-doo. I don't have a YouTube channel.
I don't have, but I could add any other social media. Let me know which one you want me to add, and I'll add it to the description boxes too.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you like.
Yeah, she's very good.
Oh, thank you. Well, we'll say goodbye, and we've got one more day of reading left. If you're still reading and you've got stuff to read, you need to read it by midnight, Sunday, your time zone. But there is a grace period of a week for you to upload that you've read it on the website, which will be in the doobly-doo as well. But I'm trusting you to be trustworthy and not carry on reading and then upload it. But yeah, if you upload your progress, then you get entered to win the physical version of the prints that we've been giving away tonight, which is very exciting. But yes, I think that's all from us. Should we say goodbye?
Bye, everyone. That's a very good ending to the readathon. We'll see you on Discord, Twitter, etc., etc.
Bye.